The Hammer's back, no doubt about that. But what about these Sharkies, Brian?
Fine.
38 points to 30. They defeat the Roosters, who are both legitimate. And the man that you heard Warren Smith call there for Fox League, Tom Hazelton. Another try, 5 for the season. So he's third behind Militalo and Katoa. Those wingers are absolutely contributing in a major way for the Sharkies. That team is flying. And are they legitimate, Brian?
They are, definitely. Yeah. I think the fact that they went out the back door twice last year, or the consecutive years, I think that's what they've obviously spoken about, because they aimed up against Melbourne and they aimed up against the Chooks. Although it looked like defence wasn't a priority, it was it was a game that I felt that was the best game of Magic Round, but it was a game that these two heavyweights were just throwing stuff at each other. We were discussing it off air. A lot of their tries were just off the cuff, which a lot of teams can't do.
You can't.
These good teams, and to win a competition, you need to be able to do this sort of stuff. And Nico Hines, for whatever reason, it doesn't seem to be mentioned when Origin is on. I didn't have him on my side. I had Moses if he was back. But
it's his now, isn't it?
It's his now. If you give him, he seems to me like a player he needs that responsibility to be the man of that team.
I totally agree with that. The world has colluded for him to have a great series, I think.
Yeah.
With all these players out of the picture, he's forced into being the dominant hand, isn't he?
Well, if you're the number 7, you have to be quite dominant in the way you sort of play. I just feel that maybe when he had a crack in the other rep sides, when he was at Melbourne, he was always maybe on the bench or coming. Maybe he just wasn't a starter. I think he builds on that confidence, and we certainly saw it with Cronulla when he got the Dally M. So for New South Wales fans, I think it will suit him being the man.
Flying, absolutely flying. 1300 1170. The Warriors defeat the Panthers 22 points to 20. We talk about A grades. We talk about Michaels, Tane, Tuamiki.
Unbelievable.
You've been big on him from the start.
Yes.
You found him, Brian.
I didn't find him.
You did.
I didn't find him.
No,
I was just saying he's wasted.
You did.
You've got to get him out.
Yep.
Get him out. But
I wasn't seeing what you were seeing at the time, but you were right. Tane Tuamiki, you'd call him.
And Tamari Martin. I was happy for Tamari Martin because, he probably hasn't set the world on fire this year, and they needed him to stand up. And if you're a young half, you want to play on both sides of the field. He was playing on both sides of the field. I just remember when Adrian Lamb was when he was our 7, he would just float everywhere. Like the days of this is my side.
I hate the left and right, Brian.
Like just play together.
Yeah.
And it was well coached by Webby to have Chance in there, because although Chance was playing a role that he wasn't familiar with, anything that if they got a good penalty, or if they won a penalty, or someone put a big shot on, he's in there just G'ing everyone up.
Good player, isn't he?
Good player, but he looks like a good team man.
Yeah.
Because they all gravitating towards him.
So what do you do when everyone's fit, right? So we've got the Rolling Blues team, the Rolling Warriors team. If everyone's fit, where is Chance? Where's Roger? Where's Tamari? Where's SJ? Where have you got them all?
I've got Chance at fullback.
Really?
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Not Roger?
No, I got Roger in the centres.
Really?
Yeah. But this might be a turning point for the Warriors, because what those young blokes did against the Premiers, the older blokes and these blokes that are out injured, surely they come back and say, oh, geez, I just don't want to let these blokes down, because that was an awesome effort. Matty Johns was saying last night could be one of their top 5 best victories for the Warriors.
And one of the top 5 Raider victories.
Yeah.
They were superb as well. They were at 11 men at one stage.
Yeah.
I just want to go back, Brian, to you made me think about this. So with the Warriors, the top 8 this time last year, South were leading the comp.
Yeah, what was their defence last year?
South?
Yeah, after 11 rounds.
They had the second best defence in the comp.
On what points?
150 against after 11 games. So about 14 a game.
Unbelievable,
Isn't it?
Dolphins, where are they?
The Dolphins were running 6th. They miss out. But then you got a team like the Knights were running 11th. Roosters running 10th. So they make a rally. So
you're talking about the Warriors. Can they make a rally?
Well, whether it's the Warriors or someone,
yeah.
Quite often there's at least 2 or 3 teams who we sort of penned them already. You would have penned the Roosters, you would have penned the Knights at this stage last year, but they make a rally and they get on with it. So
we're not selling the Warriors. I've told you that. We are
we're not selling it. No, we're keepers.
We're heavy keepers.
Heavy keepers. So we're keeping the Warriors. Who is that team? Who are those teams that could make a bit of a rally? We'll think about that. Seagulls. So are we selling Seagulls? Dragons on the cusp there. Cowboys. You're selling the Cowboys.
Yeah, I was all in. I had the Cowboys in my 8, but I can't have them.
I've got the Dogs. I reckon the Dogs are the ones.
Yeah.
I thought they were the better team against the Raiders.
Okay, have you got the Dolphins making me 8?
Oh, mate, they might now. They've got 7 in the bank.
Yeah.
They might now. Knights, interesting. So there's a few people with lucky charms. David Armstrong hasn't lost. Kay Lira hasn't lost.
I don't want to say it, but he was on the show, wasn't he, last week?
Yeah.
Davey Armstrong?
Yeah, that's right.
Did you speak to him?
Tommy Hazelton was on the show the last couple of weeks. I wasn't here.
Oh, yeah, you weren't here. So, Davey Armstrong. Oh, it was the Scope-a-thon. So
I was moving house that day.
You were moving house. So,
Yeah.
Davey Armstrong came on. Great advice. What was his great advice? To Rat. Yeah, because he watched the summit, and he said, look, don't play both sides. He said, just stick with one.
Who? Armstrong said?
Armstrong. He loves the summit.
Really?
I said, have you met Matty Rogers? And he goes, no. He said, I did hear one story. It was really rank about a cat one day, but he didn't really go into it about that. But no, what a wonderful mover that kid is.
Oh, so what do you do with him when KP comes back?
Well, Trey Fuller.
Yeah.
Has Trey Fuller impressed you more in his 4 games or 5 games, whatever he's played, or has
No,
Dave Armstrong?
I'd back Armstrong. If I bought one, I'd back Armstrong. Just
Okay.
he's a bit younger. Trey Fuller's 26, which Cody Walker didn't really start till then, so I suppose that can help. I'd go Armstrong, but
Okay.
you?
Geez, Trey was very good when the hammer
very
wasn't
good,
there.
very very good.
Dave Armstrong just looks like a rugby league player, doesn't he? The way he moves, he reminds me a little bit of Hodjo.
Yeah,
Brett Hodgson.
yeah. Yep, anticipator. I tell you, I know they've done it before, but I'd almost, because they haven't locked and loaded their halves, I'd almost think about KP back at 6, just because you got him up your sleeve.
Yeah, didn't work once.
Yeah, but you've got this kid who can score.
Yeah, but don't forget when they moved Carlin to 6, they had Lockie Miller, who was leading the Dally M's there for a little while.
Yeah,
Remember he went on that bit
that's
of a
right.
run?
That's right.
Yeah.
Food for thought. Anyway, food for thought. They haven't lost since he's been
No.
playing. Ivan Cleary wasn't so up and about in the press conference, the great coach.
And what do you take away from that?
We didn't play well enough.
Was it errors mostly costing you there? What did you see that the boys could improve on?
It's a collection of lots of things.
Could you go into specifics about what those things were that could have been improved on?
Not really.
Warriors practically had a reserve team playing. Do you think they just wanted it more?
Excuse me?
They had a lot of injuries and players coming off HIAs. Do you think they were just hungrier for it?
Maybe.
Yeah, so not happy, which is fair enough. And that's the great culture of that team. They get beat by 2. I tell you what, geez, they're hard to beat, aren't they? He's absolutely livid about the way they played.
What did you make of Dylan Edwards' kick? What did he do wrong there at the end?
I didn't see it, Brian, to be honest.
Okay.
No, I have to go. I know it was a chance to level things, wasn't it? For golden
Yeah, he
points.
sprayed it right. You keep going? Because I've got something that's just hit my desk.
You can hit the desk, and then we'll hit the break, and we'll come back with all the
All
other
right,
games.
so this was in the paper yesterday. I want to know who this is. NRL Executive parks a very urgent problem was the title. An NRL executive was caught short in the garage of his apartment block, but insists it was nothing more than upset stomach. The high-profile man was rumoured to have answered Nature's call, which was number 2, in the corridor of the building.
What?
But when contacted on Thursday, he explained the full story. To be honest, I'm going to be honest here, I shit my pants, the frank man said. I was ill. I had diarrhea, and I couldn't get to the lift in time. He went on to say the Code Brown happened in the car park and not in the hallway, and that once he'd cleaned himself up in the privacy of his apartment, he went and tended to the garage floor. Entirely embarrassing, but at the end of the day, it wasn't alcohol that caused it. I was sick. He said the awkward moment happened in the late afternoon, and that and there had not been any residents' complaints about it. They have, however, got a bit of to say about the parking in the car spots, but perhaps he just wants to be closer to lift. So we know it's an NRL executive who has, it's like the poo jogger.
What, club executive or NRL executive?
NRL executive. Well, it could be anything. I'm going to say it's a club executive.
Right. Why don't they name the? Why do sometimes they name the person and sometimes they don't?
It depends if you get along with the journo. Maybe he's bribed him.
Oh,
Don't know. But if you can get to the lift, you can get to your house.
oh, mate, I don't know about that.
Mate, I can do that.
I've been in peak hour traffic before.
Yeah,
I mean, you always seem to get there, right? Don't you? You typically get there.
If you get to your lift,
Yeah.
unless you're living in a 64-story building,
Yeah.
you can get to your unit. You can hold on. I don't care what you say.
Mm.
But he's dropped his DAX, and he's just got between the two cars and just hammered it.
What about, here's an A grade for you. So the lift in the apartment which we stayed at wasn't working, and people are blowing up. And I said to one of them, I said, guys, no one's planned this. The person behind it. What about the poor cleaners? They've got to take the stairs for all the rooms and...
Cleaners and the truth take the stairs, don't they?
Yeah, the truth takes the stairs,
Yeah.
and cleaners had to take the stairs. And if we had to take the stairs once, Brian, who gives a rat's?
Yeah, I know, but you do pay exorbitant strata fees.
Yeah, but exorbitant things happen, and you just got to suck
Don't
it
get
up,
me
Sally.
started. Don't get me started on strata companies.
1300 01
Certain
1170.
ones.
Joel and Fletch, just before we get into the rest of Magic Round, Brian, any texts that have piqued your attention?
Why is it, this is Pedro the Rooster, why is the closer you get to home, the harder it is to avoid the code brown? It's right.
It doesn't matter how far you went, you always just get there.
And you know what I've learnt? If you need to go, like sometimes you think, oh, I think I might be right. No.
No.
As soon as you start doubting yourself, you've got to go.
What is it with coffee? Does coffee get you moving?
Yeah, it does, definitely. I know we've had this chat before, but it's a lot of, I know a former rugby league player who can't go to number twos in a public toilet.
Really?
Can't do it. Has to get home.
Yeah, right.
So he's always got toilet paper in his
Well,
car.
based on your public fountain appearance with Shawnee, no issues for you.
No,
No.
you rats.
No.
Most plumbers don't care
No.
where they go.
Nah, we're
Except
okay.
you, Dunny. Dunny's, I don't want to say what Dunny is.
Melbourne Storm 48 defeat the Eels 16. Cam Munster, we spoke about that. So he's going to be out for 8 to 10 weeks. Melbourne Storm are confirming. They're flying. I mean, there was no Hughes, no Pap, no problem. 48 points to 16 against the Parramatta Eels, who are plodding. They take on South, and I'll tell you what, I'm not convinced I won't pick South in this one.
Well, we spoke earlier. I thought that was effort-wise. I thought South Sydney were up for it. Tallis Duncan, for whatever reason, I don't understand why he hasn't been in the side. I think he's played, 3 or 4 games in reserve grade. I don't know what he done, but when he needs to, I would think to myself, he's the most like-for-like replacement for Cam Murray.
It feels that way.
That would be my obvious take.
Well, let's stay on that game. So, I mean, geez, their left-hand side's a problem. Once again, Vilea scores the centre.
Yeah.
Burns gets a couple. What about this? I just worked this out, Brian. So, I went back and shared the ladder. This time last year, after 11 rounds for South, they had conceded 150 points and were ranked number 1 in the competition.
Yep.
This time last year. In the 23 games, which is the latter end of last year and this year, they've conceded 703 points.
So what was it? What were they averaging?
So they in the first 11 games of last year, it was 150 points.
Gotcha. So
13, 14 points a game.
which is right on the money.
Yep. And since that day, they've conceded 703 points in 23 games.
What's that, mathematician?
Well, let me go to the tape.
Come on, Rain Man.
700 divided by 23.
I'm going to say 29.
30.4
There we go.
per game.
So
How do you go from 13, 14 points a
17
game to 30?
to letting in 4 more tries, basically,
Yeah.
per game.
How? How does that happen?
Attitude. That's all it is. I don't believe in they're not fit enough.
I do. I don't think they're fit enough. I don't think they are.
I don't think they're mentally fit enough.
No. The hammer returns, 24 points to 12. Benji Marshall, here's what he had to say, the coach.
Pretty frustrated. We just keep finding ways to beat ourselves, really. Our team gives so much effort in so many departments in so many areas, and we get Sinbin, 2 in Sinbin, we fight our way back to 18, 12, and then we find a way to beat ourselves again, So, it's frustrating. And the message has been the same for the last 6 weeks, that we keep beating ourselves. So, if we can't change it, then the people have to change.
Yeah, people have to change. Well, I'll tell you what has to change. I don't know how they do it, but they can't score points without Caesar. When he doesn't play, it's like 12, 14, 12, 12. They cannot score without Aiden Caesar in the team, Brian.
I think that's his kicking game, really.
it?
They get a lot of field position,
Yeah.
put teams under pressure. Teams get tired in defence, and then it's a little bit easier to score tries at the moment. And those bottom teams, their kicking games aren't up to scratch. The kicking game is so important. I was asking Harry last night about, the kick pressure, and he was, when he got his and he had to fight it. And I said, do you ever see a day when you won't be able to do kick pressure? And he says, if we do, he said, the game will change dramatically. Because he said, what I like to do is maybe put a little bit of pressure from inside so they won't run.
Yep.
But the days of just going straight down the middle, he said, no. Like, if you're going front on, he says, no, it's too risky.
Well, so his main motive is so they don't run, to pressure them into the kick.
Yeah.
Yep.
But get them on the side.
Right.
But he says it's very hard to do when you're flying out there on the run.
Yeah.
You can get it wrong, and then look what happens. You're going to get 2 or 3 weeks. But you can't just let – we were speaking about this last week. You can't just let halves get away with – first of all, you can't knock them, when they pass it. You can't put them on the ground. When we used to play Jonathan Thurston or Alfie or Stick even when he was at Canterbury, we always had to make sure that they were on the ground.
Yes. So every single kick, they were getting up off the deck, weren't they?
You had to.
Yep.
That was the rule. You can't let a ball player.
No.
You got to get him on the ground.
Yep.
Because then it was too hard for us because they'd just be walking around the dinner suit.
Yeah.
Can't do that anymore.
Can't do that. Speaking about Ricky, his Raiders 24-20. Like, what an unbelievable victory that was. And his team, you could see him on the touchline riding it hard. K.O. Weeks, his halfback, I reckon he had his best ever game. The young 5'8", Ethan Strange, may have representative football in front of him one day, Brian.
I reckon so, potentially.
I'd love to have a little fiver in 5 years' time on Isaiah Katoa and Ethan Strange playing for New South Wales.
Oh, Katoa was...
There you go.
Katoa was immoral.
Yeah. At his age, what he's doing at his age.
Is there any halfback who's got more time and more... Don't you reckon he looks like Joey, the way he throws?
Yeah.
How Joey doesn't spiral him? Joey used to just fire him.
Yep.
The look inside, play outside.
But to do what he's doing at his age, there's a comp being won with him. So, all this chat around Wayne Bennett, I'd want to stay with them.
Yeah.
Don't you reckon?
Yeah. Someone was talking about him saying his best aspect is his running game.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't really seen much of his running game. Because at the moment, he's just doing those, he's throwing those beautiful passes and he's organising the team. When he gets going with his running game, I'd like to see that, if that's his best part.
I say it every week. I tell you who else is flying. Cody Nikorima. How good's he playing?
Yeah.
He's having a great season, Cody Nikorima. The Broncos fall in 13 points to 12. Kevy was very pleased that most of their wins have been in a gallop. This one was a bit of a grinding affair. Jock Madden got the field goal. He was the only player coming into the match who had ever kicked a field goal, who was playing in that match. And obviously the big news, which you've all heard by now, Payne Haas, his father, the story around that. For him to go out and play, I've got no idea how he went and played.
I don't know how. I mean, we saw with his mother a couple of years ago. She's in a bit of strife. He must be that mentally tough.
Yeah.
This fella. The injury. What was the prognosis with the? Is he out for a couple of weeks? Do we know Brooks? Do we know Turi?
There was a toe injury for Walsh, wasn't it? That was his concern. No, knee injury, was it?
Knee injury, but they said it was minimal.
He copped a knock a couple of weeks ago on the knee. I thought that might have been it. We spoke about young Armstrong. He was unbelievable. The Knights 28, Titans 24. Quick one on that. What did you think? Did you think it was a...
I thought it was a try.
Yeah.
I thought it was a try.
You thought it was not enough there to take it from him?
No.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'd say the same.
Yeah. I've seen the Philip Sami one they gave.
Yep.
Was not a try. That was, remember, a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah.
That was more of a try. So maybe it was a square up. Rugby league gods not smiling on the Titans.
No, not at all. Dragons
hang on,
had the bye.
Brad Barnell says, in 5 years' time, Nathan Cleary at 31 won't be playing for New South Wales, ?
Oh, I didn't. Well, you heard he's not playing this week.
Yeah.
He's not playing the first game, so
yeah,
anything can happen. I just think this young Katoa's got a bit of rep football in front of him. Of course, Dragons get the bye, and 2 points that they desperately need. SEN League, we've got the calls on Thursday night, which is the Bulldogs taking on the Dragons. That's going to kick you off. And then, of course, we've got the big game on Friday as well, which will be the 6 o'clock game. 1300 01 1170 is the way to have your say, or text 0457. That game, by the way, the Cowboys take on the West Tigers. Breaking back with more.